Namaskar everyone. Let us start our Gita class with a prayer. This is from the Adhyatma Ramayanam. This is on page 92 of this book, The Universal Prayers. The first one at the top of page 92. Adhyatma Ramayanam. The author is, I don't know the author, it was narrated by Shiva to Parvati. Shiva narrates Ramayana story to Parvati, and that version of Ramayana is called Adhyatma Ramayanam. As the title indicates, the emphasis in Adhyatma Ramayanam is not on the story, but on the Adhyatma Vichara, spiritual teachings are given there through the story of the Ramayana. So this verse is from that Adhyatma Ramayanam. Om Tvam Shuddha Bodhosi Sarvadehinam Atmasya Dishosi Nirakriti Swayam Pratiyase Jnanadarsham Mahamate Padabja Bhrangahita Sangha Sanginam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, O Lord Omniscient, Thou verily art the absolute consciousness, the Atman and the master of all beings, the formless reality. Thou revealest Thyself unto those whose eyes of knowledge have opened, and who, like the bee, have their mind ever fixed on Thy lotus feet. Om peace, may there be peace and joy in our hearts. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. May there be peace everywhere in nature. We have to start from shloka number 12. Last time I did shloka number 11 in chapter 9. In 11 and 12, Bhagavan is describing the nature of ignorant people who have asuri qualities. Asuri qualities mean demoniac qualities. In the 16th chapter, we are going to study in great detail Daivi Sampat and Asuri Sampat. Daivi Sampat means divine wealth. Sampat means wealth. Wealth is our character, our quality, the qualities. Our character is our wealth. Some people have divine character, divine qualities. Some people have demoniac qualities, Asuri Sampat. That will come in 16th chapter. Here briefly, 2 verses, 11th verse and 12th verse. 11th verse we did last time. I will just chant it. Avajananti ma mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavamajanantah mama bhuta maheshwaram. Ignorant people deride me. Me means Bhagavan when he appears in the form of a human being who have assumed a human body. Sri Ramakrishna said in the Gospel, God is present in all the beings, animate, inanimate, and everything, everywhere in nature. God is present. But His manifestation is maximum in the human form. In other forms He is there, but not so much manifest, hidden. In the human form, He is manifest to the maximum extent. So when God comes in human form, many people don't recognize Him as the divinity as divine. It is said that when Sri Ramachandra was there, Sri Rama, only 12 people knew that he was incarnation of Vishnu. Everybody else thought he is the son of Dasharatha, a Kshatriya, like that. They didn't recognize the divinity in Sri Rama. Similarly, in the case of Sri Ramakrishna, many people dismissed him as a mad person because he used to cry, "Mother, oh mother, oh mother," and then they did not understand his vyakulata, his craving, his for the Divine Mother. At the end of every day, he would say, "Oh Divine Mother, one more day has gone, and I have not had your darshan, I have not seen you, you have not revealed yourself to me." That was the intense longing he had. "Oh Mother," he would say and cry. People thought he is crying because he is mad. They arranged so many doctors and medicines and everything. So this is what Sri Krishna is saying here in verse number 11. Manushim tanam ashritam mam, when I come in the form of a human being, taking the form of a human being, mudaha mam avajananti. They don't recognize, they insult me. He is another person like that. Param mama parambhavam ajanantaha. Mama means mine. Parambhavam is supreme form. I am the supreme reality. Without recognizing my divinity, I being the supreme reality, Mama Mam Bhuta Maheshwaram, who is the supreme lord of all the beings. Not recognizing Mam Avajananti, ordinary people, they disregard me and even insult me. So that theme continues in verse number 12. So we shall do verse number 12 now. Moghasha mogha karmano mogha jnana vichetasaha rakshasi masurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha. Moghasha mogha karmanaha mogha jnana vichetasaha rakshasim asurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha. Mogha means futile, something that does not work, fallible, that's not true, does not stand up, does not survive. Mogha means futile, something that is done in vain, useless, does not produce any result. Mogha asha means, asha means their desires, aspirations, what they want to do in life. There are two ways, two qualities. Some people want or aspire to reach the highest goal of human life, namely to realize our divine nature, to know God. That is their aspiration. They strive to reach that goal. But many people, they don't have any idea of that spiritual aspect of our life. They are only concerned with the body, maintenance of the body, fulfilling the desires of the body, needs of the body. That is all their whole life is spent in doing that one. Such people, moghasha, who don't have any higher aspiration. Mogha karmanaha, their actions are futile, fruitless actions. In the 18th chapter, Sri Krishna is going to describe three kinds of karma: Sattvika karma, Rajasika karma, Tamasika karma. These people perform Tamasika karma. Spiritual seekers perform Sattvika karma. Those are all described in the 18th chapter. You will study them in detail. But just here, Mogha karmana means people perform useless, fruitless actions that does not amount to anything. Tamasika karma. Tamasika karma is described in 18th chapter, verse number 25. Verse number 25 in chapter 18. Anubandham Kshayam Himsam 25, 19, 22. Anubandham Kshayam Himsam Anapekshacha Paurusham Mohadarabhyate Karma Yattat Tamasamuchyate. Tamasic karma is that which is done without thinking about the consequences. Impulsively doing something and then worrying about the consequence later. That should not be. It should be the opposite, other way. We should first think about the consequences. I am going to do this action. How will it affect me and other people, other nature, animals and plants, now and in the long term? This karma may produce good result, bring happiness to me now, but later it may create problem. It may create problem to other people, animals and plants and nature. All those things I should consider before performing the action. Without thinking about these things, if a person does action, then it is called tamasic karma. Anubandha means consequences. Anubandham, 4 things are to be considered before doing any action. First is consequences. How will it affect me later, now, other people, animals, plants, nature? 1. Second thing is kshayam. Any action does inevitably involves loss of something. Something will be lost. You take any action, you will find that something is material is going to be lost, energy is going to be lost, time will be lost. Something, without losing anything, you can't do any action. Even if you are simply not doing anything and thinking something, what is lost? Time is lost. During that time, you could be thinking something else better. Kshayam. Without considering the loss and the consequences, one should not perform any action. Before doing the action, we should think something going to be lost. Is the loss justifiable in view of the gain that this work may bring? That cost-benefit analysis has to be done before the work started. Anapeksha, without considering paurusham, ability. Do I have the knowledge, the ability, the resources to complete this work satisfactorily? That should be thought about before starting the work. Some people start work in a great fit of enthusiasm, and then after some time they discover that they don't have the ability or the resources or whatever it takes to do the work. That should not be. Then anubandham kshayam himsam paurusham. 4 things are to be considered before doing the action. Karma, yat karma, mohad arabhyate. We are doing 1825, which describes tamasic karma. Yat karma, that work which is begun out of delusion, without thinking of these 4 things beforehand. Yat tamasa muchyate, that karma is tamasa karma. People who perform tamasic karma without thinking of these things before, they are moga karmanaha. We are coming back to verse 22, verse number 12 in chapter 9, second word. Moghasha moga karmanaha. People who perform fruitless, thoughtless action without thinking of the consequences and other things before performing action. Moga jnana. Again in the 18th chapter, Sri Krishna describes 3 kinds of jnana. Sattvic jnana, rajasic jnana, tamasic jnana. These people have tamasic jnana, not sattvic jnana. So let us see what is tamasic jnana. 18:22. So verse number 22 in chapter 18. Number 22. Yeah, here it is. Satvika jnana is described in verse number 20, chapter 18, verse 2. Satvika jnana. Rajasic Jnana in verse number 21. Tamasic Jnana in verse number 22. Sattvic Jnana is Sarvabhuteshu Yaina Ekam Bhavam Avyayamekshate. That knowledge by which one sees the same divinity present in all. That is Sattvic Jnana. Anything, any object, any person, any situation, anything in nature, animate, inanimate, if you see divinity in it, that is Sattvic Jnana. These people don't have that. They only go by appearance. They are just the outermost appearance of the person or whatever. Then, Rajasic Jnana described in verse number 21, chapter 18. It says, Rajasic knowledge by which one knows all beings as existence of various kinds. They are all different. Prathak Vidhan, Nana Bhavan Prathak Vidhan. That knowledge which does not say the unity in everything. Sees the difference in everything. Everything is different. It is true at the physical level, as we saw last time. At the spiritual level, everything is one divinity in all. They don't have that vision of the unity. They only see the diversity. He is different, this is different, that is different. That is Rajasic Jnana. Tamasic Jnana is even worse. Verse number 22, Tamasic Jnana, Yattu kritsnavade kasmin karye saktamahaitukam atatvartavadalpam tvam alpam cha tattamasamudahritam. Tamasic knowledge, which unreasonably sticks to an object as if it were a whole. They see one thing and imagine that to be the whole thing. One small thing we see, and this is everything, there is nothing else other than that. Very limited view. That is Tamasic Jnana. Atatvartavadalpam. Tattvartha means truth as it is. Atatvartha means not the correct whole picture of truth, partial or limited picture of truth. Untruthful understanding. This is the truth, but they understand the opposite. Alpam, very limited view of things. Tattamasamudahritam, that kind of knowledge is Tamasic Jnana. So here in verse number 12, chapter 9, Bhagavan is describing people who have all these tamasic qualities. Their aspirations are limited and their actions are fruitless, vain, tamasic actions. Their knowledge is also tamasic knowledge. Understanding one thing and thinking that's the whole thing. Rakshasim asurim chaiva prakritim mohinim sritaha. Resorting to demoniac qualities, which will be described in the 16th chapter. Such people, in the commentary Shankara says, Prakritim mohinim mohokarim dehatmavadinim shritaha. Body is the whole thing. Dehatmavadin means, I am the body. They have that conviction, nothing more. Sattvic people have the conviction that I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am the self. I am Brahmasmi. That is Sattvic Jnana. Rajasic Jnana falls in between. Yeah, I am the body and the mind, but I also have a soul. There is a divine aspect in me. That is Rajasic Jnana. One step better. Tamasic Jnana is, I am the body. What else is there? Enjoy. When the body, as long as the body lasts. Like that one. So that is Tamasic Jnana. Such people, they don't get anywhere. Their whole life is spent in pursuing the pleasures of the body. One day old age will come, sickness will come, and the body will die, nothing. That is not the truth. In the Chandogya Upanishad, there is a very interesting story. There are gods and demons. So both of them wanted to know what is the truth, what is the ultimate reality. So gods sent a representative, Indra, and demons chose a representative, Virochana. Indra and Virochana, they wanted to know the truth. So they go to a teacher, Prajapati. The story comes in Chandogya Upanishad, chapter 8. So both of them ask the same question. Sir, what is the ultimate truth? I am making a very abbreviated version of the story. The story is fairly long. So Prajapati says, you are the truth. Something like Tattvamasi. So they both said, Indra and Virochana said, oh, yes, we understood. They go back. You are the truth. So Virochana thinks, humans a body, so I am the truth. So I should worship the body, take care of it, enjoy good food, dress and pleasures, because I am it, I am the truth. That understanding is spread among all the other demons. So those people are demoniac people. Body is the ultimate. Enjoy as much as possible when it is there. That day he didn't go back and ask for more information. Indra went back and he thought, this cannot be true, because the body is going to go away someday. It's not lasting, and it becomes old and sick. How can this be the truth? No, this is not the ultimate truth. He goes back to Prajapati. Sir, you said body is the truth, but body is always changing. It goes away. So there must be something more. Please teach me. Then Prajapati gives teaching in many installments. Indra keeps going back until he gets the final knowledge. Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, he gets that. But Virochana didn't go back. Oh, I am the truth, I means the body. Yes. That is demoniac jnana. I am the body, nothing else. Such people don't get anywhere. They spend their whole life in pursuing the pleasures of the body, and one day the body becomes old and sick and dies, and that's all. That is Asuri jnana, Asurim prakritim ashritaha. Means dehatmavadini sitaha. I am the body. That limited understanding. That is all verses 11 and 12. Description of tamasic people. People who don't have the proper understanding. They don't recognize divinity in man. And every human being divine is present to the maximum extent. In some maximum means saintly people. Clearly the visible God, presence of God is visible. When you go to such saintly people, they don't have to say anything or do anything. You feel the peace in their ambience. All your questions are answered before you ask, and you experience the joy and peace radiated by that saintly person without his telling anything or doing anything. That is the divinity present, fully manifest. You can feel it tangibly when you go to such people. When you go to the tamasic people described here, you feel uncomfortable. When you approach such a person, you get some bad vibes. Something is wrong with this guy. You don't want to be with that person. You feel uncomfortable. You want to get away from that person. Divinity is present, but it's hidden. That person doesn't believe in it, doesn't do anything to experience and bring it out. Tamasic people. So here, we should not be like that one. We should try to experience the divinity present within us and manifest it to the fullest extent. That is the message here. We should not be like this one. Negative example. Now, Sri Krishna describes those who recognize divinity. In verse number 13 onwards. So let us do verse number 13. 13, 14, 15, etc. 3 verses. Description of sattvic people whom we should emulate. So verse number 13. Mahatma Mahatmanastumam Partha Daivim Prakritimashritah Bhajantyananya Manaso Jnatva Bhutadimavyayam. Mahatmanaha, two great people. Partha, Mam Partha, Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha. In the previous verse, Mohinim Prakritim Ashritaha. Those people who pursue demoniac tendencies, have demoniac tendencies. Here, Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha. Daivi Prakriti means divine qualities, divine tendencies. Bhajanti Ananya Manasaha, with single pointed devotion. Ananya Manasaha, not thinking about other things, thinking only about God. Mam Bhutadim Avyayam Jnatva, knowing me as the source of all the beings. So let us read the translation of verse number 13. Next page. But the magnanimous persons, resorting to a nature that is divine, adore me single-mindedly, ananya manasaha, knowing me to be the imperishable source of all beings. Very interesting verse. We have to follow this one. Mahatmanaha, people, great people who have proper understanding, who have sattvic qualities. O Partha, Mam Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha. Daivi Prakriti means divine tendencies, divine qualities, resorting to divine qualities. What are they? Divine qualities? Shamadama, Daya, Shraddhadi, Lakshanani, Shankara says. Such as, all the qualities are not listed, some are listed by way of illustration. Shama, Dama, Daya, Shraddha. These are examples of divine qualities. Shama means tranquility of the mind. Samadama, Titiksha, like this we have studied in Viveka Chudamani. Shama means remaining calm no matter what happens. Nothing disturbs such people. So somebody praises, somebody blames, something good happens, something bad happens. Some people remain always calm, unperturbed. That is Shama, that quality is Shama. Dama means control of sense organs. 5 sense organs always pulling us in 5 different directions. That's the common experience. Eyes want to see something interesting, beautiful form. Ears want to hear something nice, words that praise me, or some nice music or something. Tongue wants to taste something or say something, taste something that is tasty. Nose wants to smell something that is fragrant. Like this. Hands want to touch something that is pleasant to touch. So 5 sense organs pulling us in 5 different directions. So a sattvic person who is being described here must control the these tendencies of the 5 sense organs and make them all focus their attention on the self. That quality, control of senses, is called Dhamma, Shama Dhamma. Daya means compassion towards all beings. Bhote Daya, Name Priti, Vaishnava Seva. These are Bhagavata Dharma. In the Vaishnava tradition, these 3 qualities are important. Bhute Daya, compassion towards all beings, including animals and plants. Inanimate objects also, God is present in them also, though they are not able to express. We should be compassionate towards inanimate objects, things like this, gently. Bhute Daya, Name Priti, love of chanting the name of God. And then Vaishnava Seva, serving the devotees, serving all beings. Those are qualities. Daya, compassion towards all beings. Shraddha. Shraddha means, we have studied that before, it has come, a conviction that what the scriptures, namely Upanishads, say and what the element teachers say depict the truth. शास्त्रस्य गुरुवाक्यस्य सत्यबुद्ध्यवधारणा. Shastra means Shruti, Upanishad. And Gita also falls into nearly same category, because Gita contains the essence of the Upanishads plus many things which Upanishads do not contain. Gita contains, like Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, they are in the Gita, but not in so much in the Upanishads. So, faith in the words of the scriptures, Upanishad and Gita, Guru Vakya, illumined teacher, whatever such a teacher says, we should take it as the truth, because an ordinary teacher may say something, reading some books here and there and say something. But an illumined teacher, Sadguru, whatever such a person says is on the basis of one's own experience. It has to be the truth. That faith, conviction must be there. That is Shraddha. Shraddha, Samadama, Daya, Shraddha, Adi, Ityadi, and such other qualities, Lakshanani. So those are called Daivim Prakriti. Explaining the word, phrase Daivi Prakriti, these are the Daivi Prakritis. Shama, Dama, Daya, Shraddha, etc. This only 4 are listed, but many such qualities. So those people who have these divine qualities, such as Shama, Dama, Daya, Shraddha, etc., Ananya Manasaha Mam Bhajanti. Bhajanti Ananya, Ananya single-mindedly, not thinking about worldly things, but only about God. So many things are happening in the world, many interesting things. Politics and sports and entertainment and celebrity, Oscar nomination, who was wearing what, so many things are there. Absolutely useless things. Waste of time reading about all those things. So that should not be done. Yatva, Ananya Manasa, without thinking about worldly things, which are total waste of time, and put all kinds of unwanted impressions into the mind. Without doing that, thinking only about God, Ananya Manasa, with single-minded devotion, those who think of me, Mam Bhajanti, worship me, think of me. Ma means Bhutadim Avyayam. Bhutadi, Adi means the source or cause of all the beings. From Brahma to the blade of grass, all have emanated from the divine, Brahman. And Avyayam, imperishable, no end, no change in qualities, infinite, eternal, attributeless. Those who know me in this way and worship me, they are Mahatmanaha, they are great people. We should emulate these qualities, qualities such as Daivi Prakriti. Daivi Prakriti means Shamadama, Daya, Shraddha, Ityadi. We have to practice all those things. Ananya Manasa, we have to think about God without being distracted about worldly things. So many things happen in the world, but we should not think about them, read about them, waste our precious time, and thereby putting unwanted impressions into our mind, which will come up at odd times. That should not be done. Aham bhutadi mam bhutadi avyayam. I am the source of all, cause of all beings. I am imperishable, eternal, infinite. Now, same description of such people continues in 14. Verse 1 more 14, let us do. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Verse number 14. Satatam kirtayantaha. Satatam means incessantly, ceaselessly, not sporadically. Mam kirtayantaha. Those who sing and chant my glories, glorify me, God's glories. You have to chant God's name as Sri Ramakrishna has repeatedly, and you have to sing or chant God's glories. God's glories are described in innumerable hymns and devotional songs in all languages. Hymns from the Vedas, hymns from the Puranas, hymns from the Mahabharata, Ramayana, hymns from other slokas, hymns, other sources, hymns composed by various numerous saints in all parts of India in all languages. By chanting those hymns and repeating God's name, the mind becomes pure. Purity of mind is essential for God realization. Satatam mam kirtayantaha, incessantly those who praise me, sing and chant my glories. Yatantascha dradavrataha. Yatantaha means indriyopasamhara, shamadamadaya, ahimsadi, lakshanaihi, dharmaihi, prayatantascha. All these qualities have come before. Indriyopasamhara, controlling all the sense organs. Shamadama, daya, ahimsa, adi lakshanani. Adi lakshanaihi, dharmaihi. Shamadama we have studied before. Daya it has come before. All these qualities have to be practiced by us. Yatantascha, trying hard with practicing all these qualities. Dradavrataha, with firm determination. Not with a wavering mind, or let me do if it is possible, convenient. Not like that. I must do this. This is the goal of my life and I want to do it at any cost. Other things will come later. Like that. Dradavrata, with firm conviction. Mam bhaktya namasyantaha, bowing down to me with devotion. We have to bow down to God. First in the images and pictures, then later in everything. Whatever you see, you see, God is there, bow down to everything. Namaskar to everything. Even to your pillar, you do namaskar because in the pillar also is there, as was Prahlada proved to his father. His father asked God, is Vishnu, you are Vishnu in this pillar? Yes, is there. And Narasimha came out of that pillar and took care of Prahlada's father. So he is present everywhere in animate and inanimate objects, moving and unmoving objects. Bhaktya namasyantascha nityayukta, steadfastly devoted to me. Upasate, those who worship me with steadfast devotion, bow down to me and practice the qualities such as indriyopasamhara, controlling all the sense organs, samadama dayadi, lakshanaihi, all these qualities you have to practice. Incessantly we have to chant the name of God and sing His glories. Those are the things we have to do. Now, in the 15th verse, different people worship me in different ways. This has come before in the 4th chapter also. Different people perform different kinds of yajna. Some people do dravya yajna, material sacrifice, giving charity, etc. Some people do jnana yajna. They propagate and study and propagate knowledge of God, study of scriptures, etc. Some people do homa ityadi, rituals, chanting the name of God, offerings to the fire, where God's presence has been invoked. Different kinds of yajna that we saw before in chapter 4. So that is mentioned in verse number 15. So let us do verse number 15. Jnana yajnena chapyanye yajanto mamupasate ekatvena prithaktvena bahudha vishvato mukham. And others, anye, you see the word anye, chapi anye. in the second word of this first line, cha api anya. 3 words are there. Jnana yajnena cha api anye yajantaha mamupasate. Others worshipping me with the sacrifice of knowledge, jnana yajna, wait on me, looking up to me as one without themselves or different. Ekatvena pruthatvena is manifold in manifold ways. Me with face turned everywhere. Vishwatomukam. In the 13th chapter, we are going to study all bodies are God's bodies, including animals' bodies, plant bodies, and all bodies, especially human bodies. All faces are God's faces. If you look at the face of any person, whose face it is? God is residing in that person, it's God's face. There's a verse in 13th chapter, I think it's verse number 13. There, Sri Krishna says, Sarvatah panipadam tat sarvatokshi shiromukam sarvata shrutimalloke sarvamavritya tishtati. Sarvatah pani. Pani, all hands are God's hands. If you shake somebody's hands, which is not being done these days, you are shaking God's hands. Sarvatah panipadam, all feet are God's feet. Bow down to everybody's feet, God's feet. Who else is there? When Brother Lawrence was posted to work in the shoe repair shop of the monastery, Carmelite monastery where he was staying, he did it with great devotion, because whose shoes is he repairing? Whoever wears the shoes, the Lord himself wears the shoes. All feet are God's feet. So that was his attitude. He really practiced it. Sarvatah pani padam, sarvatah akshi, all eyes are God's eyes. Whoever is looking at you, God is looking at you. So God is always watching us. So sarvatah pani padam tat sarvatah akshi shiromakam, all heads are God's heads. All faces are God's faces. So like this, here it says, Ekatvena pruthatvena, seeing the one divinity in all, ekatva. Bodies are different, behaviors are different, everything is different. But one thing common in all beings is ekatva, means presence of divine, presence of God in everything. That is ekatva. Pruthaktva means in manifold ways. God manifests in so many infinite different ways. He alone. Infinite things are there. Everything is different from everything else. But who is present in all of those? One divinity is present in all. Ekatva. Ekatvena pruthatvena bahuda vishwato mukham. Vishwato mukham means with infinite number of faces. All faces are God's faces. And others worshipping me with the sacrifice of knowledge, wait on me, looking up to me as one with themselves or as different. Ekatva means one divinity present in me and everybody else. Pruthaktva means one divinity manifesting in different ways, infinite number of ways. Pruthaktva. All are his manifestations only. Bahuda in manifold ways, many different ways. Vishwato mukham. That means who has infinite number of faces. All faces are God's faces. Whomever you see, whatever you see, you are looking God. That understanding has to be cultivated purposefully in the beginning. Then it becomes natural. We have to see the divine presence in all. At least remember, everybody may not allow us to do that one easily because they behave in demoniac ways. But in those people also God is present. They don't understand, they don't believe. But His presence is unconditional, does not depend upon our belief or whatever, or understanding. So in them also He is present, but from a distance we have to bow down to them. When you see a tiger or a lion or some ferocious animal, From a distance, from the other side of the cage, they are inside the cage, you stand outside the cage and bow down to them. Because they don't know anything about God. But God is present in them. God's presence is unconditional. Vishwatomakam. So that is what we have to practice. Practice the presence of God. Ekatva means with the firm conviction that Brahman is one and not many. Ekameva advitiyam. Chandogya Upanishad, a famous statement. It's not a Mahavakya, but as good as a Mahavakya. Brahman is Ekam Eva, one alone. Advitiyam, not without any second. There is no plurality in Brahman, one. This is Ekatva. Prutaktva means he is manifested in infinite ways. Everything is different, but in all of them, same divinity is there. Let us do one more verse, verse number 16. Aham kraturaham yajñah svadhaham aushadham mantrohamahame amagniraham hutam. All aspects of all karma, as you have seen in chapter 4, are all Brahman alone. He alone appears in everything, in all actions. He is present in every action. Aham kratu. Kratu means a certain type of ritual described in the Shrutis. Shrauta karma. Shrutis are the Vedas. In the Vedas, in the second portion, Brahmana portion, there are detailed descriptions of various kinds of rituals. They are called Shrauta karma. Shruti means Vedas. If you want to see an example of Shrauta karma, you can see in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. The interesting thing is, Upanishads occur in the last part of the Vedas, Upanishad portion. But some Upanishads occur in the earlier part of the Vedas. For example, Isha Upanishad occurs in the Samhita portion. Its language is different. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad occurs in the Brahmana portion, Shatapatha Brahmana, I think, portion. There, description of rituals are there. It also has the Brahmajnana. Monks study only the knowledge portion in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, certain chapters, and not all the remaining chapters, which contain description of rituals. What kind of rituals? For example, if there is a couple and they want to have a child, and depending upon what kind of child they want, they can do certain rituals. It says in that portion, if you want a child who will become a great Vedic scholar and will become very famous, then you do this ritual. What kind of food you should eat, what you should do, that is given there. We don't study that portion because that's not of interest to us. So that is rituals. Shrauta karma. That is called kratu. Aham kratuhu. Shrauta karma. Karma described in the Shruti. Aham yajñaha. Yajñas are commonly described in the Smritis, Puranas and other some scriptures we described rituals. Grihya Sutra, all those books, we don't normally study those books. We are not familiar with them. They contain description of rituals for householders. That is Smarta karma. Aham kratur aham karma. In all these karmas, we see the divine presence in everything. The person performing the karma, the materials used in the karma, in the yajna, and the offering itself, all are different aspects of the same divinity. That we saw in verse number 24 in chapter 4. While eating, which is also a yajna, because we are offering ahuti to the Vaishvanara present within us. So the person offering is Brahman, the food that is being offered is Brahman, the Agni that receives the food is of Brahman, and the action of offering is also Brahman. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihi. That sloka we are familiar. So everything is manifestation of Brahman in every action, Brahman can be seen. Swadhaham. Swadha means when you make offerings to the Pitras, forefathers, departed forefathers, we say Swadha. That is that kind of offering. Aham aushadham. Aushadham means food for all beings. Food that has curing therapeutic properties. Any food in general. Aushadham. Mantra aham. All mantras are his manifestation, divine manifestations. Mantroham ahameva ajyam. Ajyam means ghee that is poured into the fire when you performing homa or havana yajna. Mantroham ahameva ajyam aham agnihi. The fire into which all offerings are made, that is also Brahman. Aham agnihi. Aham hutam. Hutam means what is offered. Ahuti, that is made, that is also Brahman. That means, as we saw in chapter 4, in every action, all aspects are aspects of the same divinity. We have to see that one. So we should do all actions as if it is worship, because God is present in every aspect of the action, of every action. Eating, for example, given in the chapter 4, verse 24. So that is verse number 16. There are some very interesting verses coming in this chapter 9. For example, in one verse, Sri Krishna says, even if a person has committed so many mistakes, apiche sudara acharo, such a person need not feel dejected. He can also realize God. He can become a Mahatma quickly. Shipram bhavati dharmatma. Very quickly such a person become a dharmatma, though he may have committed, he or she may have committed many sinful deeds. Such words are there, such shlokas are there, ideas are there, very practical and giving us hope to everyone. No one is excluded, everyone can realize God, no matter what such person has done or has not done. So such verses come in the remaining section of the chapter 9. We will continue next time. So let us stop here. So we did verse number 16. So 17 onwards we have to do next time. So let us chant the closing prayer. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Om, may all be happy, may all be free from diseases and other problems, may all realize and practice what is noble and dharmic. May there be no ill will among beings, may there be harmony among all beings, and may no one be subject to any kind of suffering. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarvam Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you all and stay well, and God willing we shall see you next week.